Welcome to Colonize the Ocean podcast, where we discuss oceanic colonization, exploration, and education with your hosts Adam Jewell and Brendon Traxler.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Atlantic Sea Colony live stream. It's been a little while, and we're here with both Brendon Traxler and Babe today. How you fellas? How you fellas doing?
Good.
Good. Really good.
Took you long enough to answer.
I was going to let Babe go first, and then I was thinking,
Yeah, I was going to let him go first.
we should have coordinated that beforehand or something, I think. Anyway,
Whatever.
how are you doing, though, Adam?
I'm all right. Yeah, nothing fancy going on with me. Just living life, my guy.
Cool.
It's super hot. I don't know. I'm assuming it is where you guys are at too, because they say it's like a heat wave everywhere. But in South Dakota, like it's above 100 degrees all week this week. So
Nice.
This has been pouring rain here, so it's just been kind of kept it down a little bit.
So it's probably going to be like super humid after a little while.
Mhm.
That's even worse.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, the reason we're here tonight is because we haven't been around for a while. Yes, we're gathered here today. So there are several reasons. First off, I want to apologize. We didn't have our Patreon monthly last month. We talked about doing it. We had it scheduled in our head. We never announced it. Then it came up, and it was like there's no time to announce it. It was a disaster. So sorry about that. We will do better this next month. So hopefully we got some more stuff to show off on that, which I'll go over here quickly too. Some of the stuff that's coming down the pipe. Down the pipe. But before we get into all that, Babe, what's been going on with you?
Oh, house repairs, honestly.
All right.
It's cutting into my dive time, big time. Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate, but it is part of owning a house.
Yes, it is.
And you had a line of thinking. I guess we'll go hop into that right there as far as topics and stuff to talk about and other stuff. We can start off with what you got here. As far as
well, that's it.
As far as what you're
talking, yeah. So for a habitat, when it comes to a repair, as a business model, is there going to be a warranty, a kind of thing sold with it, or some kind of insurance offered? So as a result, too, though, commercial divers, this is going to be a job niche for them.
Yeah.
To do any kind of repairs and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of it boils down to too, as far as you're talking about the external repairs and stuff like that. It kind of depends on what it's made out of too. And that's been an ongoing discussion. Is what do we make this thing out of? Do we do metal? Do we do concrete? Do we do 3D print it? And so I think that boils down to a lot of the external repairs. No matter what you've got, maintenance is required on it. So yeah. It is. It's we talk as we've been talking to Thane over at Jules and listening to renovations and stuff he's done and the difficulties of just getting little things down there. It's one of those things where I don't want to think about it because it sounds like a headache. But at the same time, it's something that it has to be addressed sooner or later.
I've always kind of pictured it as in like a lot of places. I'll use, for example, like where I work. Where I work now, they make utility trucks for when they work on like power lines, and they have they make diggers and all that stuff. So, but it's like what they have like across the world really is they have service centers. Now, I'm not saying we'd have a bunch of service centers, but we like part of their company and business model is that they have like service as part of it to where, like, say we have enough of these out there, we would also have a section of our business that is there for, say like the warranty, the just like, or whatever it is, where if they need something fixed or, whatever, we have specially trained people within our business organization that go and do that work.
Ideally, and this is fanciful thinking and maybe down the road, but being able to raise and lower that habitat to the surface for repairs or anything like that is ideal. And I mean, it's definitely one of the things that we want to focus on as far as some of the design elements, even with the prototype, is how to be able to lower the thing, and then you can reverse do the same thing. So maybe, especially if it's in shallow enough water, if it's like several hundred feet down, that's going to be an issue. But for shallower ones, that might be a feasible outcome down the road. But once again, you've got all the years and everything between here and there you got to focus on. Did you have any ideas or suggestions, Babe, since you're the one that came up with the topic?
Well, in a way, no. That's me being a smart aleck. It's things like what you were just saying about Thane, the idea of having to get stuff down to there.
Yeah.
So, look at this in a reality sort of way. The deeper you go, the harder that's going to be.
Yeah.
So if you can raise and lower it, you can still transfer your utilities, a washer, dryer, a refrigerator, whatever, into it. But if you can't, now you're looking at a whole new business for someone else to do. If you don't do it, it's a submarine with those capabilities to be able to hook up to your pod and run stuff in. So a cargo truck, if you will, it's a submarine.
And you're right. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a repair truck. I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah. And as you were saying that, honestly, down the road, I mean, that's especially as you go deeper, you're not going to be diving down to the habitat at that point in time. So you're either going to be being transported there some way, ideally through a submersible that would dock onto it. That's what we're shooting for is a docking clamp, a universal docking clamp for underwater habitats that a submersible will dock to. At that point in time, it takes away a lot of the pain of getting stuff down and up, because you just, like I said, a delivery truck where you bring everything down there, you export it onto there and whatever. One of the ideas I had several years ago was you could, obviously we would have to do it at first, but it would be one of the things where you could have a monthly agreement with the habitat owner, with us or whomever, to do all the maintenance and stuff on there. And then that is off on them. You basically outsource that aspect of the whole thing. If anybody's out there and wants to do a cleaning system for underwater habitats, we'll give you first dibs.
Oh boy.
We're gonna charge recreational divers like $10 to rent a toothbrush for them to go out and clean them.
Yeah. Some of them would love doing it though. Some of them love doing it. It's being outside in the elements, getting especially if you're like OCD or something along those lines, you're gonna want to be out there doing that. So
yeah. Then you got people they're gonna invent some bling to put on it.
Yeah. Well, then start scaring the fish away or something, or maybe attract them. Who knows?
Yeah, you put something shiny on it, it's gonna put more or attract more things.
There you go. Some crystals. You can bedazzle your habitat.
That's right. But that's the other thing is insurance. Just like your homeowner's insurance.
Yep.
That's going to be a whole new realm too.
Well, like I said,
hey there, Ron.
Hey, Ron, how's it going? I don't know if it was in the monthlies or what I talked about it, but I had already talked to an insurance company about insuring underwater habitats. It's not as bad as I factored it being. I don't have the math in front of me, but it was like 10% of the cost of the habitats annually would be your insurance rate, and then there's like a flat fee depending on how many people you had in there. Once again, you're figuring one of these habitats is going to be $250,000 or something like that. it wasn't that bad. In comparison to what I'm thinking it was. I was figuring you have to go through Lloyd's of London or something along those lines for this stuff. But he's like, nah. He's like, it's pretty cut and dry, as far as they deal with big ships and stuff like that all the time. So that's kind of what we're looking on that. But yeah, do you pass that off on to does that get covered in the cost, or you pass that off to somebody else, or how does it work out?
Right.
So yeah, Ron is both. He was talking about the outside and then any sort of maintenance on the inside and stuff too. What we were talking about at first was it kind of depends on what it's made out of too, as far as the external cleaning and stuff. And you're right. Why clean it? As long as it's not deteriorating the habitat.
Yeah.
You're going to create another ecosystem there for it, which is kind of what we're shooting for anyway. As long as we can balance the two out.
And it honestly probably helps create another barrier over it anyways. So
yeah. And that's kind of the whole idea of the Secrete, where it's, the electrolysis and stuff like that helps make a fake. I agree. Almost like a underwater Roomba type of thing that pretty much just always goes out there and cleans his windows. At depth, you're not going to be able to get out there and be doing. I mean, you actually could, but
it'd be very unpleasant probably and a lot of work to do it. But it got me thinking, actually, that we're talking about this is like, so before I logged on, me and my younger daughter, we were swimming in our pool or whatever, and it had been like, I don't know, a few days since we've been in it. So I took the cover off, and like some of the, gunk was building up on the sides. You can tell like after a while. I'm like, that'd be nice if we had like one of those robots or something that just kind of goes around, just like kind of constantly keeps all that stuff from building up. And yeah, so same thing. For like fish aquariums, they have those magnetic wipers. We could just do that too, where you just have them like you can just clean it from the inside. And just
that would actually probably work.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point there too.
Yeah.
I think say that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. They have them on tracks. That way, they're not going to be getting knocked off or anything like that too. Something to look into, especially as you go deeper. First, in the shallow waters, it's not going to really make that big of a difference, but it's still something to experiment with in a controlled environment like that when you're shallow, so you can perfect all that stuff before you start sticking it down there, start running into problems.
See if we can work out a partnership with Windex.
Sure. Yeah. And that's one of the things years ago when I was just dreaming pretty much at that point in time, I thought it'd be cool to have ROVs that you could control from inside the hotel suites or whatever like that too. So you could go out and drive around and have on your TV screen there in your bedroom. And so why not the same thing for the cleaning aspect of the thing too? Fortunately, there's been a lot of, with ships and stuff along those lines, there has been a lot of work done on the external cleanings of vessels and stuff along those lines. So I'm not super concerned with it. Yeah, that's good input. I really like the tracks thing. You guys got any input on that?
No.
Okay.
I like it too.
But yeah, I also think that with the advent of 3D printing and stuff like that, it's really going to change things too. Because if you had like a pod that just had a big 3D printer in there, you could print all the stuff you need to replace and stuff down there too, or a lot of it as well. So you wouldn't have to be worried so much about topside for internal stuff. Yeah, Ron, letting the external service let it grow. Yeah, I'd say as long as it's not damaging the integrity of the vessel, I agree.
I think that's why it's so important that like that it's perfect the first time, like right from the get-go, because like I said, having I guess nature kind of take over adds another barrier to it anyways. So really, as long as you keep your that stays intact and like you have perfect seals and everything on that, then you really shouldn't have to worry too much about, having to do a lot of structural maintenance on it. That way to where you wouldn't have to like scrape anything off and all that.
You'd have to keep the docking areas.
Yeah,
right.
Docking area clear too.
Yeah,
certain,
that portion,
certain areas. But once again, if you only focus on a couple little areas right there, it's not going to be too bad. Yeah. Windows and docking area. So, but yeah, that's a good discussion to have more in depth on sometime when we do some research behind it and get some stuff along those lines. One thing that kind of coincides with that is just the construction elements of inside of a building too. And last week I had a guy on Discord actually contacted me, and he's just started a company building tiny homes. And that's been something we've been trying to get a hold of, with somebody in the know of tiny homes to talk to them about the construction aspect and stuff along those lines, because it's very similar to underwater habitats.
Hey, Marty.
Hey, Marty. And so I'm still working with him. He said, yeah, he'd be interested in doing an interview down the road or something along those lines. But yeah, so once again, that'll be an interesting interview too, to talk about the construction aspects and maybe quiz him a little bit on, hey, replacing stuff along those lines too. A couple of things I want to talk about real quick, and we can always hop back to the other conversations if people are piping in there and saying stuff too. But a couple news aspects. This Thursday, supposedly the Seasteading Today podcast is going to be launching my interview with them I did earlier this year. I think that's supposed to be this Thursday. Obviously, we'll post it to social media, so I'll be watching out for that. Also, according to the schedule, this Friday, our finished video for our commercial advertisement thing should be done too. As long as we like the first draft, it should be ready Friday, is what I'm being told. So then we can already start using that for marketing purposes and stuff along those lines. Because I didn't win the lottery this last week, we're going to have to do some marketing and even look. And one Hira in Discord, he mentioned some different government grants. So I'm looking at those. I'm a bit opposed to government grants, and I still kind of am, but see what they got to say. So those are the big news articles that are going down here. That's Tech Pikachu.
It's one of my favorite kinds of Pikachu.
Something else going on. Ocean Builders, who we all love here, August 22nd, they're doing a live stream. I think it's a live stream. I think they're showing off everything. They may even be showing off their first pod that's in the water. I don't know what they're doing, but they're making a big deal about whatever it is. So August 22nd, they're doing, according to their email, it looked like a live stream. So that's something to watch out for. Also, Graham Hawks, who I think most people here know who he is, but he had Deep Flight, the submersibles. He's just been an engineer and marine conservationist and stuff like that for quite a while. He was married to Sylvia Earle for a while, but he's getting up there. He's in his 80s, I think now, or close to it. He recently put out an article. It's like 7 pages long. And he just rambles on there a lot of spelling errors and stuff along those lines. So I'm trying to make heads or tails of it. But basically what it looks like he's talking about is a new idea for deep submersibles. So as I'm getting through this, I'll be able to make some more heads or tails out of it. But it's really, basically, he's almost talking about like a new suit. So you don't worry about the submersible being for the pressure, but almost like the newt suit or the wasp or something like that, where you're in some sort of suit where you can. He's just calling it an HS and doesn't explain anything what it is. At least not that I've gotten to yet. So if anybody has any idea on what he's talking about or can find anything on it, I'd love to see it. But I've been searching the internet. I can't find anything on this thing. His website, the link that I went to is down. So I don't know if it's an older article that just resurfaced or what, but that's come to my attention. Yeah, I've been a huge Deep Flight fan for years. I wanted to go out to California and take the Deep Flight school where you become a underwater pilot back in the day, but never got to do that. And then when I contacted them, they weren't offering that anymore.
Sorry, I meant to have this on standby, not just put it up there right away.
So I think they've been building the sea pod. I mean, they've been showing that off. So I'm wondering if that's not what they're going to show off. Is that thing in the water finally?
The thing you said August 22nd because that's what the site said.
August 22nd, yes.
Yeah.
So then the last podcast, honestly, it was talking about this EcoPod right here, and some of the internal elements of that. And that one there is going to be more. I know this isn't really underwater related and stuff like that, but I love supporting what they're doing. It's going to be more interchangeable, like your standard house. The EcoPod is. The Sea Pod is just going to. It is what it is. It's really white. It's iPod looking. Or the EcoPod, you're going to be able to configure it a little bit more to what you want it to look like, more like a house. Either one, super cool. But yeah, I think they're going to be showing off the Sea Pod. That's my guess on it.
Those legs on it too. You saw the different ideas they had for the base or the top base of those legs. They had different ideas to, a porch or a dock, and then different things that you could do with them, which was really cool.
Yeah, like a helipad and all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see what Ron's got here. Oh, sorry. So yeah, at first, especially in the shallow water when we're just dealing with, 1 atmosphere or so, along those lines level, we'll just dive it down, similar to how Jules does anything like right now. Down the road, the conversation has been to work on a universal docking collar of sorts for underwater habitats. And that's the idea we've got with Martin, with Colomar Underwater Park over in Germany, that we talk to on a regular basis, is having a universal docking collar for submersibles to be able to dock to. That's obviously down the road a little way. And at that point in time, that'll simplify bringing people, bringing supplies, bringing everything down there. Up until that point, it's just going to be an aspect of, giving it plenty of ballast and sinking it down there and letting the pressurizing open it up type of thing.
With the market saturated full of drones, there's got to be a way to make a little submarine drone that would have be pressure, that you could change the pressure in it to accommodate something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just that's something I've looked at too.
Yes, Ron.
Yeah, I know Dave likes that one, and obviously that's what Fabian's proposing as well, as a big underwater garage on his. Yeah, absolutely. Then you just that's obviously a possibility too. The only reason I guess I have to look at the math behind the energy consumption to flood and unflood it more. The flooding, it's not going to be the issue. It's going to be the unflooding it. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that.
You just need a bunch of air compressors.
There's going to be a lot of issues, especially when we get to the second stage after we get this prototype built and start working at that. When we've got more money to really dig into some of this stuff to see what options we've got out there. So yeah, nothing's off the table as far as that aspect goes.
I want my place with a 3-stall garage. I'm just saying that's.
Marty's just talking about Conshelf too, having their garage.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
And the Conshelf garage may be the simplest way, because it was simple, where they would just pull up into it like it was like a moon pool, hook onto it, and just hoist it up out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
The saucer.
I think when you start getting anything much bigger than the saucer, my biggest concern is the construction aspect and the pressure of having it, especially if you're going to have it dry. You're going to have something big that you're going to have to really have that thing, especially once again, if you're at any kind of depth. As long as you're staying shallow, it's not going to be a big issue. You could have a dry garage with no problem. Yeah.
Yeah, at depth, you're definitely going to have to deal with the pressure, the lockouts. I mean, you have to have lockouts.
It depends on the size of the sub too. Yeah. That's why I was, looking at how the space station and stuff does it with just, hey, you just lock on the outside and you transport the stuff and you're done. Seemed to be the simplest solution to it. That's right. If you're below 100 feet, you need air chamber to work out, all that would go in ambient pressure or one to make the garage. Yeah. I'd say the idea is keep everything at 1 atmosphere, just for the ease of coming and going. Now, I'm not saying that, especially as you get larger habitats, you couldn't have different areas that were ambient pressure for scientific purposes and stuff along those lines. But the point is that at least my vision of the whole thing is to 1 atmosphere so you can come and go as you want. What's Marty got here? Marty wants his room or suite with an ingress egress. I mean, okay. I'm going to have you fill a waiver out, though. I'll tell you that much. Marty sinks the whole thing one night, sleepwalking. Oh, man. Marty's like, fine, no problem. But so, yeah. Make sure I got over everything I want to talk about. My notes in here. Yeah. Marty's like, yeah, just once. So yeah, I think that covers everything I had on the docket for tonight. So I just want to make sure I got my stuff covered as we spread into whatever this rabbit hole this goes down here, talking about construction and stuff, if it happens to do that. But now Ron, I said, my whole thing is I'm not an engineer. I just got a guy that's got a vision. That I know this can happen. We can do it. So just trying to surround myself with people that know more than I do to make things work. But at the same time, the whole business model that we're focused on is not so much. We're trying to keep it simple for mass production, and that's why it's modular and stuff along those lines. At the same time, I'm not so concerned with building habitats as much as building a platform for people to do what they want with their habitat. So I don't really say personally, I guess since I own the company, it's my thing, but I don't care about making underwater hotels. I don't care about making this, but I care about making the platform, the habitat that people can put a hotel in or can turn into their business model or whatever, like that standpoint. Because there's people out there, you look at Fabian, he's working on making a science lab. You've got Poseidon Undersea Resorts. They're looking at making a hotel. So they're very niche in what they're trying to do. And I think that having versatility to what you're offering not only protects you, but gives you options as well out there. The problem with the docking collar is that the connection will be subject to a lot of stress due to the current wave action. If you make it robust enough, you'd almost have to have it lock, not only the collar, but you'd have to have it lock on somehow. And we had somebody in our Discord that was interested in looking in the feasibility of that, but they kind of died off. So once again, that's down the road. Once again, depends on where the money comes from, but that is definitely not within the next few years type of thing. And maybe it's not feasible. I'd like to approach that as an option first, I think.
Well, it's just like anything, with Fabian, you, and so many people looking at this, technology is going to, there's going to be more resources put toward it. Technology is going to start catching up to it. And that's when those ideas are going to start coming.
Yeah.
And people are going to make this stuff work.
Yeah, absolutely. Like anything, it was once you start getting that sector, the free market to an extent takes over, where people are going to start wanting to make money. So they're going to start investing in the what's going on out there. And like Ron said, the money is this thing. The money is everything. with the right amount of money, you can make almost anything work if you have enough money to throw at it, type of thing. So at the same time,
if we would have won this lottery,
yeah, if we won the lottery, we wouldn't have this live stream. This live stream would be from some place that we working on it already. But yeah, Ron says the technology exists today to make this happen. But 100%. And I also think that we often too much look at what has come before, and they were designed for the science community and to be deep and stuff like this. They are tin cans, and so they were expensive, and so I think that it can be done easier than people believe it can be, especially at one atmosphere. And so I think that scares a lot. That scares me, honestly. This whole thing terrifies me sometimes, just because it's so big, but it's so doable too. And I don't think it needs to cost $150 million, $300 million to get this done either. I think it'd be done a whole lot less than that. But I think the key is laying a foundation and starting somewhere. And I believe, and we believe here, that starting small and testing it versus going all out with no subjects beforehand to prove off of it. Where are we at? Well, I mean, I'll take your $2, Ron.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah, so every little penny counts. Marty's like, we can contact Noah if they want to put us. Yeah, so once we get some of this more marketing stuff done, this video and stuff we're working on, we're going to be starting to hit up different places like that to see what who is willing to partner with us, who grants, different financial stuff like that, before we start doing like a Kickstarter or something along those lines, which I tried to do several years ago and didn't have zero little, but when I was just early on at that point in time. So yeah, there's a bunch of different areas, and if people have got interesting contacts like that might be up, we're all about that. We're trying to build a database right now. A lot of them have been coming from our Discord community, especially Hira in there. He's been very vocal about different contacts, especially military contacts and government contacts. So thank you for the clarification on that. I didn't know what the acronym stood for there. I don't want to watch this whole thing, Adam. This thing's long.
Huh? You can keep talking. I don't have the volume on. I just figured it'd be something that we could
you can play
while we're talking.
So so this is a part of our commercial will be part of some of the stuff from here, plus some other videos we've had made, and images and stuff along those lines. But this is, if you haven't seen this before, this is the video we had made by one of our graphic guys, which is really cool, kind of showing off just the idea of phase 2. Obviously, he took some liberties as far as some of the stuff, but the biggest thing is how we're getting them down to the ocean floor, and basically the general look of it. More of a, hey, people understand better if they can see it than me sitting here blabbering about it too. So
yeah, I never get bored watching it. I'm always impressed with it. I think it looks beautiful.
I'm glad.
But yeah, one of the I'm excited to have the commercial ready to go, because I'm ready to fire off hundreds and thousands of emails if need be to start trying to get some interest and contacts and partnerships and whatever it may be. Thank you, Marty.
Yeah, I knew that one. No, I knew that one, Marty. Babe, you've been quiet. You got anything to throw in here?
Actually, I've just been waiting for because I was trying to find it. There's one of the podcasts I was listening to over the weekend. It's one of the ones that's on the Atlantic Sea Colony resource page. And you had mentioned earlier about 3D printing stuff. Mm-hmm. And in it, they're talking about how, they've gone from these huge research vessels to be able to do underwater research because that's what they're doing. And they have 3D printers, and they're taking a lot smaller boats, less crew. And if there's a problem, they just print out the piece they need for their camera system, their ROV, repair it, replace it, send it back down. They don't got to go in. They don't got to call in a specialist. They don't got to wait on parts. And it was really neat to listen to them. And I mean, it did. It just changed the whole dynamic and made everything so much cheaper for them to do research like that.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So I'm looking at it being applicable to the same idea. You can just, like you said, you can just print a part.
Mm-hmm. And even printing the actual habitat too. I mean, it's getting to that point where they've printed submersibles and stuff, and Ocean Builders is printing a bunch of their stuff. So yeah, I really think 3D printing is definitely going to change, especially over the upcoming years too. Since you can print anything too, you can print food even. I mean, I've seen so.
Yeah.
Ron's got here. He's like, what amazes me about the concept is how wealthy folk can really get behind investing in space research, but shy away from undersea stuff. Yeah, 100%. And that's something I've talked about too, and I think other people have talked about it as well. Is part of the problem is there isn't any real person championing, except for Fabian Cousteau now, championing behind. So it's not getting out there in the zeitgeist, or it's not getting out there in the public domain where people know about it too. Whenever you see people post something on Facebook or social media about some cool underwater hotel, everyone's like, "Oh, that's so cool! Where do I sign up? How do I get there?" So there's interest out there. It's just, once again, getting it out there into the public's eye for them to see it a lot of times. And also because it is something that hasn't really been done before, I think a lot of investors are scared off. I've talked to a couple of investors in the past, and they're like all about it at first, and then they just shut up. Maybe that's me too. Maybe I'm scaring them away too. But yeah, and the crazy thing is the money's out there. One of the things I do in my free time is I'll watch people play video games online. And I see people bring in thousands of dollars a night from people just donating random money to them for sit there to play a video game, because they've built this community where people just want to help people out. So there is so much money floating around out there. It's just, how do you harness that fan base and that community? Because I think they can do a lot there. Just the everyday person. If 100 people gave $100, I mean, look how much that is right there. So yes, Ron Prince, 3D printing basically eliminates the supply chain, and it's inherent. I agree, and I think that's one reason that it hasn't been a bigger thing so far. Is I think there's a lot of industries out there that are very scared of 3D printing, and they're probably using some of their going conspiracy theorists here now almost, but using some of their power to keep it from blowing up more than it is, because it's going to eliminate a lot of stuff out there once it really starts taking off. What you got there, Adam?
You were talking about 3D printing, habitats, and this is like one of the. I'd play the YouTube video, but last time we did that, we got flagged, so I'm not gonna. Yep. But I don't know how many people have seen this, but there's companies like this one where like they'll 3D print a home, where like you can kind of see here. It's this like giant, I guess, obviously like a robot type deal that all it does is just lays, beads of cement out, and it just builds the frame of a house. And, it stops at certain points so that, people can put in like, say like the window frames, the electrical stuff like that. And then it just keeps going. And, just like the durability of it and how long they last, all that stuff is it's pretty impressive when you look into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Maybe we should do a whole entire episode sometime, dive into this a little bit more, get our thoughts together on it, get some stuff, because Baby had a great idea with this one. I thought it was just going to be a quick in and out video, just showing some news and stuff like that. But let's start off with construction. Anyway, I digress. What you got, guys? Anything else? Are you awake over there, babe?
No, I'm starting to go.
Yeah, me too.
Well, Ron, thank you very much for. I mean, you usually don't come in, or if you do, you don't say
Marty.
anything. So I appreciate and Marty too, for all the insight.
Input.
Yeah, go ahead.
I said input.
Yeah, input. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, Ron. I may hit you up on some of this stuff if I got any more questions, but you know where we're at. We try to be here frequently. This one's kind of last minute, but yeah, guys. Yeah, Adam, you want to run down the outro?
Let's do it. First and foremost, we've been talking about the Discord. Brendon, you want to throw that link up in there? Join our Discord. Sort of, we're having a lot of the discussions on different aspects of Atlantic Sea Colony. Just for example, we have different channels, I guess, for like habitats and the structure of it. We have a thread for the power and utilities, a thread for location ideas. We have a thread just for like scuba news and tech, one that just talks about marine life, one that talks about boats and subs, anyways, just all kinds of different cool stuff that we're talking about in there in different subject threads. So yeah, we encourage everybody to come in there. It's a cool place to just bounce ideas off of and just discuss all kinds of that kind of thing. So also AtlanticSeaColony.com. This is where you can actually have it loaded up here. That's AtlanticSeaColony.com. And hold on, make sure I pull it up here. Thank you. Check out all of our different aspects on there that we have. With the resources page, we touched on that a little bit earlier. If you're wanting to discuss or you want to see podcasts, books, YouTube channels, live underwater cams, stuff like that. Also, our merch, AtlanticSeaColony.com/merch. Go to our merch store.
And actually, on that, you can now buy that through the Instagram and Facebook too, through the shops too. I've got them linked on there as well now too.
Cool.
So, anyways, we got new Aquanaut merchandise, and the Aquanaut merch is like kind of the newest designs that we have on there. All of our cool designs. We got the Manta Ray design. We got the Hammerhead designs on there. We have the octopus designs. I'm not going to go through every single page on here, but we got t-shirts, sweatshirts, coffee mugs, thermoses, mouse pads.
Yep.
Just a little bit of everything. Hats, stickers, pins. Masks, Amelia says, who somehow just joined me. Sorry, I didn't even put the Atlantic Sea Colony merch up there. Okay, and then you guys are asking, hey, how can we help out? That's what we've been talking about the most on here. So actually, right on our page, under our partnerships, you can go there for one, but I'll just throw up the things on here. PayPal.me/Atlantic Sea Colony. That's a great tool to use for a one-time donation. So if you want to donate $23.67, that's how you do it. So yeah, one-time donations there. Also our Patreon. So if you want to jump in on a monthly subscription basis, that's a place to do it there. We do. Actually, I can click on our Patreon right there, and that'll take it. Oh, that opened up a new tab. I'm sorry. But we do different tiers there. Let me see if I can pull them up here. Brendon, can you tell me what the tiers are right off the bat here?
So there's the shark tier is the lowest one. It's $5 a month. Then there's the octopus tier, which is $15 a month, and there's the manta tier, which is $25 a month.
Oh, I guess if I would have looked at the scrolling ticker at the bottom, I could have figured that part out. I'm sorry. Yeah. So thank you to the patrons that we have. We got Edward Haas, Brian Acosta, Matthew Cathy, Martin Reese, S. Babe Hyde, and yours truly. And when you join the Patreon, depending on the different tiers, different perks with that. Also, we do the monthly live streams, like Brendon said at the top of the show. We didn't get July's done. time got away from us on that, but we will be back in full force on. Jeez, babe, what do you have going on over there? Yeah, so we have all those different perks, and then like access to parts of the Discord as well. And then what was the we were doing for the highest tier there?
So it's merchandise. It's going to be specialized merchandise, which I was coming from our graphic artist. I got to get with him, see where he's at with that. If not, I got some ideas for that for our own stuff.
Yeah. So lots of cool stuff that we got going on. Also, I didn't even hit up our social medias. I'm sorry. You can catch us you can go to the social media page on our website. Otherwise, we're basically on everything. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Discord, YouTube, TikTok. Brendon and I kind of were talking before, well, Brendon more so, but trying to do a little bit more video type deals for.
I got one going out tomorrow already.
Social media type things. So yeah, try to work on that a little bit more to, just add an extra layer of content to the deal. But yeah, that's all I got for that.
Yeah. And Ron had one more comment in there about a future Aquanaut. Absolutely, man. It was great. It was quick when Babe and me went and did it. I would definitely, especially if going with anyone, one day just is not enough. But
plus the pizza.
Plus the pizza, yes. And then you get one of these bad boys right here.
What's it say?
It says Specialty Diver Aquanaut from Patty.
Oh, I'll tell Patty I said hi.
Got my whole dive card on the back, yeah.
Well, that's all I got. Do you guys got any parting words?
Thank you for everybody joined in. It was a good time.
Yeah.
All right, we will see you soon. We'll probably do another one of these before we do the Patreon one. So we'll see you in a couple weeks probably. Right?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you later.